Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari
Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana
Yamuna Tiravana Chari
Yamuna Tiravana
Yamuna Tiravana Chari
Yamuna Tiravana
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivarjagacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So we have Giri, right? Mountain Dari, one who lives. In this song it says Giri Varadari. Yeah. So why is that addition there? That Giri, yeah. Oh, the best. Oh, I see. Vara. Oh, okay. So Giri's hill, Dari is one who lift, and Vara means the best. So Giri, Vara, the best of the hills. Dari, he lifts the best of the hills. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, titled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 9. Dhruva Maharaj returns home, and we're on text 8. Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam.
Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam.
Supta Prabhuda evanata bhavat prapanna.
Supta prabudha ivanata bhavat prapannaha.
Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam.
Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam.
Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bandho.
Vishmaryate kritavida katam arta bandho.
Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam.
Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam.
Supta prabhuda ivanata bhavat prapanna.
Supta prabudha ivanata bhavat prapannaha.
Tasyapavarga sharanam tava padamulam.
Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam.
Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bandho.
Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bindho.
Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam.
Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam.
Supta prabhuda evanata bhavat prapannaha.
Supta prabudha ivanata bhavat prapannaha.
Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam.
Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam.
Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bandho.
Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bandho.
Please chant.
Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam. Supta prabudha ivanata bhavat prapannaha. Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam. Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bandho. Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam. Supta prabudha ivanata bhavat prapannaha. Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam. Vismaryate kritavida katam arta bandho. Tvadattaya vayunayedamichashta vishvam. Buddha ivanata bhavat prapannaha. Tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam. Vismaryate Kritavida Katam Arta Bandho. Tadattaya Yunayedam Achashta Vishvam. Sutta Prabudha Ivanata Bhavat Prapannaha.
Do you think you could give me a Bhagavad Gita, please?
Tasya Pavargya Sharanam Tava Paramulam. Vismayate Kritaveda Katam Arta Bandho.
All right, word by word translation. Tvattataya. Thanks. Given by you. Vayunaya. By knowledge. Idam. This. Vachashta. Could see. Vishwam. Whole universe. Supta Prabhudaha. A man rising from sleep. Eva. Like. Nata. O my Lord. Bhavat Prapannaha. Lord Brahma, who is surrendered unto you. Tasya, his. Apavargya, of persons desiring liberation. Sharanam, the shelter. Tava, your. Padamulam, lotus feet. Vismaryate, can be forgotten. Kritavida, by a learned person. Katam, how? Artabandho, O friend of the distressed. Translation. O my master, Lord Brahma is fully surrendered unto you. In the beginning you gave him knowledge, and thus he could see and understand the entire universe, just as a person awakens from sleep and visualizes his immediate duties. You are the only shelter of all persons who desire liberation, and you are the friend of all who are distressed. How, therefore, can a learned person who has perfect knowledge ever forget you? Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be forgotten even for a moment by his surrendered devotees. The devotee understands that the Lord's causeless mercy is beyond his estimation. He cannot know how much he is benefited by the grace of the Lord. The more a devotee engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, the more encouragement is supplied by the energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that to those who are constantly engaged in devotional service with love and affection, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives intelligence from within, and thus they make further progress. Being so encouraged, the devotee can never forget, at any moment, the personality of Godhead. He always feels obliged to him for having achieved increased power in devotional service by his grace. Saintly persons like Sanaka, Sanatan, and Lord Brahma were able to see the entire universe by the mercy of the Lord, through knowledge of the Lord. The example is given that a person may apparently abstain from sleep all day, but as long as he is not spiritually enlightened, he is actually sleeping. He may sleep at night and perform his duties in the daytime, but as long as he does not come to the platform of working in spiritual enlightenment, he is considered to be always sleeping. A devotee, therefore, never forgets the benefit derived from the Lord. The Lord is addressed here as Artabandhu, which means friend of the distressed. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, after many, many births of executing severe austerities in search of knowledge, one comes to the point of real knowledge and becomes wise when one surrenders into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mayavadi philosopher who does not surrender unto the Supreme Person is understood to be lacking in real knowledge. The devotee in perfect knowledge cannot forget his obligation to the Lord at any moment. Om Nikaritim Badandasya Gananjana Shulakaya Chakshulan Vitamina Tasma Shri Guruvinamha Mukam Karitva Chalam Pangam Nangai Tegadim Yukipatam Hambande Shri Grunditanam Vancha Kapadi Vishcha Kripasana Bevacha Patitanam Pavanibyo Vaishnavibyo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Read the translation again. O my Master, Lord Brahma is fully surrendered unto you. In the beginning you gave him knowledge, and thus he could see and understand the entire universe, just as a person awakens from sleep and visualizes his immediate duties. You are the only shelter of all persons who desire liberation, and you are the friend of all who are distressed. How, therefore, can a learned person who has perfect knowledge ever forget you? So in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is referring to this verse in the beginning of his purport, Tesham Satatayuktanam. What's the rest? All right, so for the younger devotees, who could say what that means? Okay. You think you could look that up? So, for one who is devoted, serving me, Krishna says, he gives, with love and devotion, he gives, Krishna gives intelligence how that person could come to him. How that person, constantly, yeah. You have to do it constantly. Not just sometimes. So to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Constantly devoted to serving me with love. So yeah, this is a very important verse because we want to go to Krishna. We want to be Krishna conscious, and Krishna says, for one who's constantly engaged in his service with devoted to serving him with love, he gives understanding by which they could come to him. So he guides the person. So you say that there's the Chaitya Guru, the Guru in the heart, which is Krishna, and then there's the Gurus, external Gurus, means outside of you. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, the gurus and the saintly persons in the scriptures. So whatever you could say that we feel inspired by within our heart, Chaitya Guru, you could say, we have to check and double check and triple check and quadruple check to see if that lines up with what the gurus on the outside are saying. Because the guru on the inside, we may think it's our guru, but it's not. Something else. Maybe our mind. Like that one saying, I think you quoted the other day, Javita Prabhu, you said, what is it? One who accepts their guru, one who accepts the mind as a guru has a fool for a disciple, right? So you have to check. So Prabhupada, once he was in Los Angeles, he was there many times in Los Angeles. On one particular occasion, Prabhupada would take darshan of the deities, and like Govindam, Maripusham, doing that whole, and then devotees would serve him the Charnamrita, just like we do in every temple all over the world. So devotees served Prabhupada Charnamrita, and Prabhupada accepted it. And there was salt in the Charnamrita.
I was there.
You were there, okay. So if you put as much salt in a preparation as you do sugar, like sometimes the devotees have done that with halava, right? You put about a cup of sugar, maybe a little less, and a morning's serving of halava that we have, those. And if you put that much sugar in the halava, that much salt in the farina, it's just it's unedible. You can't have it. It's horrible. So they put Charnamrita in the salt. One of Prabhupada's female disciples. So Prabhupada asked, we could double check with Bhattacharya Swami, see if I'm telling this properly, but Prabhupada said, who did this? And then apparently this Mataji came out and Prabhupada said, why did you do this? And she said something to the degree that, Krishna's in the heart and he must have inspired me to do it. And then Prabhupada said, no, you shouldn't think like that. That's your foolishness. Not that Krishna was inspiring you. She tried to get wrong answer. Better read Bhagavad Gita again. And Prabhupada wasn't happy with that answer, as I could imagine it wasn't.
Don't blame Krishna for your mistakes.
Yeah. Don't blame Krishna for your mistakes. It's a good one. So it wasn't the guru in the heart. It was her mistake. So that's an important point. And also, there's a case, it's an unfortunate case, but one of Prabhupada's early disciples, he was sent to Hawaii, and Prabhupada sending devotees all over the world. And they got a temple, and there was a temple, and he just sold the temple. Sold the temple, and as far as I understood, pocketed the money or whatever. So it wasn't under some divine instruction, it was just under the person's mental concoctions, whatever that is. Or another case, Prabhupada had an early devotee who was an editor, and he would omit certain things about the universe and the moon and this and that. So it wasn't under divine instruction, it was just under their own choice, their own mistakes. So whatever mistakes a person does, they shouldn't blame Krishna, but they should take the blame themselves. And of course, these are, you could say, examples that may have not absolutely. Of course, it hurt. In some of these cases, it hurt their spiritual lives, but there's some cases in the world where people take this way out of extremely extreme cases where people will say, God just, he inspired me to kill these people, right? Or God doesn't like people that hold the signs. God doesn't like homosexuals, right? So I'm just going to take it upon myself to do God's work. Some people think like that. Now, we wouldn't say that this is Chaitya Guru. We would say this is demoniac. This is wrong. People. So, but nonetheless, again, if we are engaged in Krishna consciousness, engaged in serving Krishna with constantly trying our best, then Krishna will give us the intelligence. And again, how to come to Him and how to be guided properly. And again, we have to check on external gurus outside as well, to see if we got it right, if it's our mind or if it's actually Krishna inspired. And in this way, we are able to, by double checking and triple checking and quadruple checking, we're able to get some clear idea of how to navigate out of this world, how to navigate out of Maya, how to navigate out of material existence. And that's the fact that everybody needs a guide, everybody needs to be navigated out of here. Sometimes devotees go to programs and they get lost. It means evening programs, like house kirtans or whatever, speaking engagements. They get lost. Maybe the map doesn't tally up with that. In other words, there's some mistake on the Google map or whatever. Like last night, we went somewhere and the place just took us to the wrong destination completely. So we had to re-navigate using another system. And it did that with another person too. We were driving up because we re-navigated, found out where it was, and then there was some Mataji, some devotee lady. She was walking by, and I said, "Oh, are you lost?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, well you can just follow us." So this idea of navigating out of here, and Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Nectar of Instruction, he says that one has to follow the instructions that are given in the Nectar of Instruction and strive to live in the mode of goodness, and then everything how to make further advancement will be revealed to the person by one developing mode of goodness and also following the instructions stated in the Nectar of Instruction. So, and specifically the lower modes, they keep one sound asleep in ignorance. In the mode of passion, one is, their senses are on fire, everything's on, means their desires are unlimited to enjoy this world in so many ways, millions of ways, and therefore they're sound asleep in material existence. They're not going to navigate out of material existence in that state. And then in mode of ignorance, they are just a absolute fool. Means that they don't have the passion, or they don't have the drive that the man or woman in the mode of passion has. They're lazy. And therefore they just try to enjoy this world in lazy ways, whatever that means, however that translates. I'm sure we could come up with some ideas. And in this way, one remains sound asleep. So you could say that not everyone is, for the most part, it's not like people are purely situated in the mode of ignorance or passion or goodness. Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says they're always fighting for dominance. So the idea is that we want to try to situate ourselves more in the mode of goodness. And Prabhupada would stress that over and over and over again. Even in his last days, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that point, to situate oneself in the mode of goodness. And if we don't know what the mode of goodness is, it's right here in the Bhagavad Gita. We could read about it. And people, and without this guidance, without real spiritual guidance, then people make an absolute mess out of their life on every level. Whether it's a sattvic mess, whether it's a rajasic mess, or whether it's a tamasic mess, they make a mess out of their lives. And a mess is a mess, whether it's sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. So ultimately we want to rise above the mode of goodness as well. So what I mean by that is Prabhupada would say prisoner's a prisoner. Whether they're a prisoner in La Jolla, they're a prisoner in Chula Vista, a prisoner is a prisoner. They're a prisoner in Tijuana, they're a prisoner in Hollywood, a prisoner is a prisoner. They're slaves. So we don't want to be interested in tamasic life, we don't want to be interested in a rajasic life, and we don't even ultimately want to be interested in the sattvic life, being very peaceful in this world, and everything's nice, peaceful, sattvic sense gratification, right? We're not into that. So without this guidance, people become completely lost. It's like have you ever remembered those I don't know, a lot of movies or books where they talk about how somebody's lost in a what do you call it, like a maze? Labyrinth, yeah. They have movies about that. They can't get out. What is it? Yeah, labyrinth. Like one person was telling me at the lounge, which I never heard before. I was quite interested and shocked, and I thought it was kind of bizarre, but because there was a girl and a boy there, they're in their 20s, they're from UCSD. Girl's from Sweden, he was from Canada. His parents are from Iran, but nice people. So the guy asked me, or she asked me, so you said that there was dancing at the Sunday festival. So what type of dancing is that? And I began to tell her that I have a god sister. Her name is what was Prabhupada's mother's name? I'm forgetting it. Anyways, starts with a R. Anyway, so whatever her name is, I have a god sister, but she's like 96 years old. So she became a devotee. Her daughter became a devotee, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And then the mother became a devotee. This god sister of mine is 96. Yeah, Rajani Priya. Yeah, Rajani Priya. So Rajani Priya, her Rajani Priya, her parents were asking about the temple. Oh, how why you go to the temple, why are you chanting, all this type of stuff. So Rajani Priya, she told her parents that I could tell you all day and night about it, about how the temple is wonderful and what are the benefits of the temple, but ultimately you have to go to the temple and you have to experience it. That you have to experience, the prasadam, and you have to talk with the devotees, and you have to experience the chanting. So that's absolutely in line with our philosophy, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. You could have the bottle of honey, right? But you have to take the cap off and have the honey. So all the people who are studying Krishna from academic point of view, it's just like licking the bottle, not really experiencing the honey. So anyways, I was telling this girl that, and I was seeing that she wasn't satisfied. She wasn't satisfied with my answer. So then I started to, or at least that's my perception was. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. So anyways, I started to go off into another thing. I said, well, I could try to explain to you a little bit. I mean, it's kind of unique dance, sometimes devotees running back and forth, jumping up. It's kind of a unique style of dancing. Yeah, Swami step. So I was telling her that, and she said, oh, okay, she was getting some idea. And then this guy, he started to explain something that he did before, some type of dancing. I was like, okay, well, let's hear what you're talking about. And then he started to explain this whole thing. I was like, wow, this is quite a thing you're talking about here. So what he said that a group of people, they're all together, and how they start off the dance is first they're like in a position of an embryo, like on the ground, and they're all kind of like moving or whatever. I was like, this is just weird. Like this, embryo moving. And then from there, I believe they start to crawl, start like crawling, like dancing, crawling. And then from there, they kind of like get up and they start moving, and then they start moving like a monkey, a monkey. And then from there, they all and then from there, what they do is with their hands, they all kind of go like this, like rush into like the middle of a circle. And he started talking about a fire, how there's a fire there. And they're going like this. And I was like, okay, interesting, right? So, but then it all made sense to me later. He said, oh yeah, and by the way, when people are doing this, they're all taking acid, So it made sense to me, because... And it's not a real fire, they're just hallucinating that there's a fire there, so it makes sense. So I was when he was telling me this, I was thinking, oh wow, this is just, I've never heard this before, this is quite unique, and this is quite crazy, waste of time, just mundane. But this is the type of people, these are nice person, but this is the type of things that people get into. And there's so many things. So in other words, there are millions of ways to get lost in this world and its distractions. Unlimited. So the idea is that we don't want to be lost and we don't want to be asleep. We want to be we want to be awake. We want to be Krishna conscious, and therefore the idea of taking advantage of what we have is always important. In using the faculties we have, for example, the intelligence. So when we hear such things, oh, Krishna, he's Artha Bandhu, right? Which means he's the friend of the distressed. So if we just think about that, oh, he's the friend of the distressed. That's such a nice thought. He's the friend of the distressed. And who's not distressed in this world? Or he's an ocean of mercy. If we just think about that, oh, he's an ocean of mercy, right? So one devotee was saying that the nice one thing about an ocean is that you can't measure the content of the ocean. So similarly, we can't measure the content of Krishna's mercy. So just thinking about these things, you automatically feel Krishna conscious, and you automatically feel better, positive about your life. Okay, I have something to strive for here. I have something to live for. Like one devotee said, oh, if you ever feel depressed, just look at Krishna, right? He's always smiling, and just look at Krishna if you ever feel depressed. So, and this person was also bringing up a point. He was saying that in Canada, there's apparently some place. They have some saying, or there's some place where it says like, it's what was he saying? It's like the end of the road. You know, you reach the end of the road. So you could say, going back to Godhead is the end of the road. You could say, of course, it's not the end. There's so many things going on, or coming to Krishna consciousness, you could say it's the end of the road. Of course, there's a lot going on, but he also mentioned this point, which I thought was interesting. He said it's a beautiful place upon which one returns. Which one arrives, they don't want to return. So he was talking about me or he's asking about me, how long I have been in the temple, this and that, and he was making the point that people, they want some belonging, they want to feel like they've reached home, type of thing. And I always felt that at the temple. Even before I joined the temple, I was with my Volkswagen van driving back to La Mesa, where I was living, and I always felt that although I was driving home to my house, or whatever the house we're renting, I always felt that I was leaving home, like the temple, even before I joined the temple. So yeah, Krishna consciousness is like that it is a beautiful place, or an experience in which when one gets there, they don't want to return. And what to speak of the spiritual world, they don't want to return. So that's the idea that we want to, and that's what it's stating here, that once one becomes, it says, how therefore can a learned person who has perfect knowledge ever forget you? So practically speaking, when one comes in contact with Krishna, it's hard to forget him. Even people who, fall down and leave, and, it says in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Narada Muni, he says that they're not considered to be ordinary people because they, in the back of their minds, they're always remembering the ecstasy of serving the lotus feet of Krishna. So, and what to speak of those who become really fortunate that they strive, and then by the mercy of Krishna and the Vaishnavas, they're able to stay around and then come to the point of never forgetting Krishna in a ultimate sense. So that's the idea we want to strive towards. So, all right. Does anyone have any questions or comments? We got a new wireless mic here. So, no, seems to be working better than the other day. So. Or comment, yeah, anybody comment, questions?
I'm just trying to think of a question.
Story, pastime?
Well, just as a past, this thing's loud, just as a pastime, that verse you said, that, a nice analogy, going home and we never want to leave. There was a devotee, and also Narada Muni saying that one, having once engaged in devotional service, is never considered an ordinary conditioned soul, because again and again he remembers the nectar of serving the Lord's lotus feet. There was a devotee, he's now nicely situated in devotional service, but he left, he took, and he said, living in the temple, he could never remember verses of Bhagavad Gita. You see, but once he's out there in the mix of the material world, he said Gita came to him all the time, such happiness have a beginning and an end, a wise does not. He said it's just Krishna spoiled everything. Because whatever he would do, he'd remember a verse from Bhagavad Gita, and it just soured the whole thing. He just could not crank it up and get into the material world. So you were saying, it's the only question I can come up with, because you answered the questions I had, that we don't want to be in the mode of goodness. You were talking about, whether you're dreaming, whatever mode you're dreaming. But then you said about devotees, we want to come to the mode of goodness or be in the mode of goodness, and then Krishna enlightens us. I forget what the rest of the point you made. I'm sorry to say. So what is that comparison? The materialist in the mode of goodness and the devotee wants to come to the mode of goodness.
All right.
Like someone said, well, the Varnashram Dharma and this evolution process, we don't have to come to the platform of goodness. Prabhupada stopped and said, then why are you falling down? So help me out, the devotee in the mode of goodness and the materialist in the mode of goodness.
Yeah. Well, one is that the materialists in the mode of goodness, they are just trying to situate themselves in this world and practically just enjoy this world and forget Krishna, practically speaking, forget God. And by means of whatever, you live on a farm and you everything organic food and the air clean and you're vegetarian and classical music and all these things, and families there and enjoying but then there's just no Krishna there. He's just completely gone from. And there's many people who live like that. There's many. Now, of course, Prabhupada said that if those people are preached to, and if they're fortunate and etc., then they could. It's a good springboard for them to take to Krishna consciousness. Like Prabhupada said, those who are in the. There's wet grass, there's grass, and then there's dry grass. So you're trying to light wet grass is very difficult. So it's like people in the mode of ignorance. And then you have grass. It's like people in the mode of passion trying to light the fire. It'll work, but take more. But then dry grass immediately. So it's there. But if they're not preached to, and if they're stubborn, if they're just complacent, and then they just stay in the mode of goodness, and then stay in this world and keep on rebirth. So. But a devotee, it's advised that they come to the mode of goodness and then add the practice of Krishna consciousness, add Krishna to the picture, the process of devotional service, because that's a good springboard. The mind is more clear, and there's some certain qualities that help, that are derived from the mode of goodness, cleanliness and so on, that help the consciousness rise to Krishna consciousness. So that's the idea.
Very good. Your example of grass.
You want to say something, Jagannath? And then her?
The materialist, he's self-motivated for his own, aggrandizement, or he's fulfilling some thing that he thinks that he'll benefit from. But when you're serving Krishna in the mode of goodness, you're serving Krishna's needs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
One is self-centered.
Right.
You could come in. Yeah, I think.
We're just wrapping up our morning class. Okay.
You have something to say?
We're just in time for breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Good time.
Okay. All right. I was going to say one last thing about the mode of goodness, but I don't know. I'm forgetting now. So, but yeah, preaching. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. That, of course, as time goes on, there's more and more influence of mode of ignorance and passion. People. You know how people are. And then, but also, as we see, there's a bit of an uprise on some sattvic understanding, sattvic principles. Now, of course, one devotee told me that at all these fast food chain restaurants, which are just garbage, it's whatever, McDonald's and Taco Bell, these things. He said that in America he saw, I don't know if it was just Southern California. It seemed like if it was in Southern California, it'd be all around America. But anyways, at least he saw recently that on their advertisements, they're advertising, vegan options, McDonald's, Taco Bell. So, of course, these places by nature are tamasic places. And, of course, in India, with the McDonald's, they've had vegetarian options. They've had vegetarian options for a long time, and the reason being is because there's so many vegetarians in India. So naturally, if they're going to put McDonald's, they have to put the vegetarian options. But in America, they started that, and I thought that was interesting because although it's a tamasic place, the owners, the business people behind that are seeing that, hey, a lot of people are having interest in this, which is a sattvic thing. Means a lot of people are having interest in a sattvic thing, which is good, because then you give them Krishna consciousness, they could. And not only a lot of people have an interest, but the tamasic, passionate owners are recognizing that and providing the option. So it's actually quite interesting.
It's actually more insidious than that.
Okay.
It's not the people that sit in the window at McDonald's and saying, hey, where's the veg option? What's happening, it's like cigarettes, there's the warning on the package. They're concerned that they're going to get sued. Just like the World Health Organization just came out and said, hey, look, you got to stop eating red meat. It's the #1 health problem. And resource trainer. So there is a preemptive. Hey, you had the option of a salad. We promoted a vegan. There was that guy, I think he's called Super Size Me. Yeah. And the guy lived on McDonald's for, he didn't make it a month. He was going to try for a month. And no, it's true. I think he made it like 2.5, 3 weeks eating McDonald's at every meal. And it was whacking out his body so much, his doctors told him, you have to stop. So it's really, I mean, your point is very good, but you're more benign and gentle in your thought process. The main reason they're doing it is to protect themselves against future lawsuits. Hey, you had the option. Yeah, it's quite evil, pernicious.
All right. Well.
Sorry, rain on the parade.
That's all right. Prayed. No, she had something, but this was answered. So, okay, we'll stop there. Grantaraj, srimadbhagavatam ki jai.